Hello, I'm James Stratton with OTG Realty Advisors, and I am excited to announce our newest optimized portfolio of properties, Project Brenda Peach, whose asking price is just over $6 million. Let's go to the vault and see what we can learn about this portfolio. All right, welcome back. Okay, let's take a look at Project Brenda Peach, and let's see what makes Project Brenda Peach so special. Okay, so Project Brenda Peach is a three-property portfolio whose total asking price is $6 million plus dollars, and this particular portfolio was chosen out of a sample size of 865 properties whose sample total asking price was $1.47 billion. So a big shout out to the brokers who listed these properties. They did such a good job that the software was able to pick them out of a sample size that large. Now, this particular portfolio is what we refer to as a growth portfolio. And at OTG Realty Advisors, we define a growth portfolio as one in which there is some alterations made to the properties significant enough that you can ask for higher rents from future tenants. All right. Now, this particular portfolio also belongs to our small cap series. And we define a small cap series as one in which the total asking price of the portfolio is $7 million or less. Now, in this particular case, what's so special about this particular slide is that it answers a fundamental question that investors often have. So we may actually have a investor out there who says, I have just a little over $6 million I'd like to invest in the market. And I'd like to get the most I can with that, with the highest expected rate of return and the lowest amount of risk or lowest risk exposure. And that's exactly what modern portfolio theory does. I mean, that's the reason why we use portfolios. All right. Now, let's go take a minute and let's take a look at the predicted cash flows that would come from this portfolio. Now, if we take a look at the cash flow pattern, it looks just like any other cash flow pattern, except we're going to see some strange things out here. Now, first, we have our expenditure, which is what the asking price is for each one of these particular properties. Now, we evaluated the portfolio at the asking price, and we optimized these portfolios based on that. Okay. So what we're going to look at here is over the coming years, what the cash flows are from the individual properties. All right. This is our NOI, the net operating income. By the way, before we get going much further in here, if you hear me talking about terms that you're not used to, or maybe you've kind of gotten a little rusty on, such as IRR, NPV, NOI, Markowitz curves, correlations, look down in the description down below. You'll see some smaller videos with tutorials in them that'll get you up to speed. Okay. Now, in this particular case, we're saying as a model, we're going to sell this particular property in the year 2029, in which case we're going to be able to sell the property and we'll be able to accumulate the cash from the sale and that year's cash flow, the NOI. All right. And so property number one would be approximately 10.7 million. This is predicted sales price with the NOI. Property number two, it would be 4 million. 4.8 million, and property number three would be 2.4 million. But we're not really limited to just predicted it on 2029. So let's say, for instance, that we want to maybe sell it in the year 2026. Well, let's look at the chart down below. Now, there's some important characteristics with that second chart down below. One is we're looking at the predicted asking prices of these properties over the coming years. And one of the first things you're going to notice is these lines are very nicely separated. They're not correlated with each other. And that's what we're really looking for in modern portfolio theory. In order to help reduce non-systemic risk, we want these properties to be negatively correlated with each other. But we'll talk about that here a little bit more later or in another video. But in this particular case, let's just say we want to sell this property instead of being in 2029, we want to sell it in 2026. Well, if we come down here and highlight that particular year, we see the price of property number one's predicted price would be $9+ million and some change. And price number two on property number two would be 4 $0.6 million and some change. And property number 3 would sell at $2.2 billion and some change. Now, let's just say, though, we want to find out what our predicted cash flows would be because we want to cash out. Okay, so we're going to look at this one and we're going to drill down through it. And we're going to learn that property number 1's cash flows for 2026 is predicted to be $900,000 and some change. In 2026, it's $767,000 and some change. And property number 3 would be $212,000 and some change. That would be your total price that you would be able to use on your what they refer to as your reversion year, or the year in which you're selling the property. Now, if you need to, you can actually come up here and actually export these properties, or export this into your favorite Excel sheet if you want to. All right. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to learn how these correlated properties help us understand how to map out our equity plan. Okay. So let's go to that page here. Okay, here is our equity plan. All right, so what this is basically saying is, hey, I got 3 properties. Do I put 33 and a third a percent of my money in each property? Which, by the way, one of those is never going to be equal. So the answer would be probably not. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look and see. Okay, so how do we make an equity plan? What we're going to look over here to the left is this particular chart is what we refer to as a Markowitz chart. And it's basically going to tell us, it's used for a number of things, but in this particular case, we're going to use it to help us determine our equity plan. Where do we put our money at? All right. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to press on this particular dot right here. And it's going to tell me what my equity plan should be. And it's saying that if I wanted to have that particular level of return, expected rate of return, which is 8.26% with a 21% risk or volatility, then I should have 47% of my money in property number 1, 40% of my money, my equity, in property number 2, and 14% into property number 3. If I do that, then I should expect to have an accumulated net present value of the cash flows totaling 11.5 million. All right, let's choose a different spot and see what happens. This should go down. All right, if we do this, it did. It went down and it changed our equity plan quite a bit. If we go a little closer to our axis down here, it's going to go up. All right, but not by much. It's 0.6 million, and it changed our equity plan just a little bit. Okay, all right, so let's go down here to our last page and look at our leading particulars of the properties. Now, as I said, these are 3 properties that are in the state of Texas. And let me give us a real quick disclosure. First of all, James Stratton does not own any of these properties. And OTG Realty Advisors does not own any of these properties. And we do not have an exclusive right to sell. Those belong to other brokers. And as a result of that, since we do not have that exclusive right to sell, we cannot give you the addresses of these properties unless we have some type of at least limited representation. And if you'd like to learn more about that, look down in the description down below. We can help you out with that. But suffice it to say, the 3 towns that this particular property is in is Vernon, Texas, Ty, Texas, and Beaumont, Texas. We can get the asking price and the square footage. In this particular case, the Vernon one, we really don't know what that is. It wasn't provided to us by the broker. Now, it also tells us whether or not it's in an opportunity zone. Okay, and what kind of property it is. And if you notice right here, it's an industrial property, hospitality, land, and multifamily. And what that means to us in modern portfolio theory is that they're diversified. So we're diversified that package. We also diversified it by geography. All right, so I really hope you like this video. If you like this kind of video, make sure you hit that like button at the bottom. Leave us a comment. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you can get more of this type of analysis as it comes out. All right, have a great day.